Hi there, welcome back to What the Flick. Christy and Ben and Matt. We talk about movies on this show, but we also talk about television shows, some really, really good ones quite frequently. And Emmy nominations came out last week honoring many, many of those shows. And it's kind of a different landscape now as far as like who is making these shows that get these kinds of honors. Like a show like Modern Family that had been dominant in the comedy category for a long time got nothing. So instead you have Netflix with 112 nominations. That was your leader in all of them, which breaks HBO's 17-year streak of dominating nominations. That includes 13 for The Crown, 12 each for Godless and Stranger Things, 10 for Glow, 4 for Queer Eye. Shows that you guys talk about here.
Right, 10 for Glow, but nothing for Alison Brie. She didn't get a Best Actress nod for that show. HBO has not carried its record this year.
Yeah, so Christie's tease was the kind of thing that would have driven HBO back. Because you said HBO, you said Netflix, it's all on networks that you have to pay to watch. The show, all.
I didn't say that.
Something you said, and then you said networks like Netflix and Hulu.
Okay.
Right, and Hulu is, I'm not knocking you. I'm saying that, but the HBO had its 17-year run knocked. They lost by 4 nominations. You say it's like Netflix and Hulu, which had, I think, 20.
Hulu has 27.
Okay, HBO had 108.
108.
And it comes the week that after the AT&T takeover and the formation of Warner Media, that the mandate given to HBO was be more like Netflix. Well, then Netflix beat them, and now we've already forgotten about HBO.
So it's a measure of how that business has changed, right? Because when Netflix started getting all of their nominations and outdoing the networks would complain. The broadcast networks, like, well, look, we're doing 40 shows a year, right? And so we have to be broad.
Right.
HBO's doing 5. Right, they're only programming Sunday night, so they get to do really good stuff, and they've got all this money, and they only have to do 4 or 5 shows. Right, Netflix is doing hundreds of shows, hundreds of shows a year. Right, and so now HBO's like, what? Wait, we only have 1 night of programming. You guys have 1 million shows. That's not okay.
You're right. It's only four nomination difference. You're right. So Netflix has 112, HBO has 108, followed by NBC has 78, then FX has 50. But like, it's not like the networks are dominating.
Right. But to your point, Ben,
no, that's you're 100% right. I'm just.
But to your point about AT&T changing, like AT&T comes in as the new owners of HBO, and we saw this in the news a couple weeks ago. Like, hey guys, you need to do more content, right? And that's going to really, really change the business because HBO, for a long time, was buying so many films or getting the rights to so many films, and then would use a lot of that money to fund their own projects. Right, and now they're going to have to do what Netflix has been doing for a long time, which is, we're not even going to worry about licensing films. We're going to really lean into doing all our original programming.
Yeah, streaming has I don't know about ruined, but streaming has massively changed the buying movies and then being the premium cable outlet for movies. That seems gone. I don't know, but that feels like an unimportant part of their business for home box office business. But you know what Netflix's revenue is? I just looked it up a couple weeks ago. It's the only reason I know.
1 million.
That's right.
1 billion?
1 billion.
Netflix makes $1.3 billion a month.
A month.
A month.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
That's
so that's
crazy.
why.
Right.
That's why they spend all this money because
on Adam Sandler.
Right. That's because
they're making.
Because they can.
They have hundreds of series in the pipeline for this year.
Yeah.
Literally hundreds.
So
and you mentioned Hulu. We keep showing Handmaid's Tale, like which is fantastic and a seminal moment in television.
It could not possibly be more timely.
Right, could not possibly be more timely. I thought the second season was really strong. I know some have criticized it. I thought it was really good. They've gone beyond the novel, but it's really, that's all Hulu has. That is, Hulu has not yet advanced. Amazon Prime, which I think has just one great show after another, is still lagging so surprisingly far.
They have 22 nominations.
For
22
HBO,
behind Netflix. Yeah.
Because we had seen news about HBO had ordered 4, maybe 5 pilots for Game of Thrones prequels, and then somebody at HBO was like, well, maybe 1 will get greenlit. With the AT&T news, they're going to greenlight all 4.
That's right.
Let's talk about a couple of categories real fast if we can. So drama series, your nominees are, we've been looking at some of them: Handmaid's Tale, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, The Americans, This Is Us, The Crown, and Westworld. Which of those seems like the winner to you, or what are you most excited about?
The Americans should win. It's one of the great finales, one of the great final seasons in the history of television, in the whole history.
I could see The Americans go, if they do a good campaign, I could see The Americans
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, it's
because it's the
again,
last
and
chance
also it is also a little relevant.
I was gonna say timeliness will help it, right?
But a little, I don't even watch this show, but you just look at a show like This Is Us, hanging in there, fighting with these massive cable, no rules shows. It is impressive for This Is Us.
It's earnest. And then outstanding comedy series, your nominees are The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Blackish, Glow, Atlanta, Barry, Silicon Valley, Curb Your Enthusiasm, speaking of hanging in there, and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Which of those seems like a winner to you?
That's a good question, and it's interesting how Maisel is really only funny when she's on stage. Like there's some silly stuff.
Is it?
Well, I mean,
I liked it.
But that show's relatively dramatic, right?
Yeah,
And there's such a blur of the lines between comedy and drama, especially coming out of the Emmys. I almost think they should just start calling things hour-long and 30 minutes.
Is Atlanta a comedy?
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of it. I've only seen one episode. It's really good, but I love the dead parents, Pollock and Shalhoub in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
And so, want to do actress real fast? So,
I want to talk
actress
about
in a drama. Elizabeth Moss in The Handmaid's Tale, Kerry Russell in The Americans, Sandra Oh, first Asian actress ever nominated for a lead role at the Emmys, Claire Foy for The Crown, Evan Rachel Wood for Westworld, and Tatiana Maslany for Orphan Black.
I mean, they're all phenomenal. Tatiana Maslany could arguably win every year, right?
Right, she should win for each show.
But
she should win everybody else's award.
One of the best actresses that I have ever seen in the last 10 years, Jodie Comer, who plays opposite Sandra Oh, who's magnificent in Killing Eve, is going to be one of the biggest stars of the next decade. She is she is beautiful. She can move her face in these very intriguing, you want to hug her and you're terrified of her simultaneously. She is, and so I feel like they missed it. They missed who the star was of that show, even though Sandra Oh is magnificent. Killing Eve is a great 8-hour run for anybody interested.
Okay, let's do actor in a drama real fast. Sterling K. Brown in This Is Us, speaking of. Matthew Rhys in The Americans, Milo Ventimiglia in This Is Us, Jason Bateman in Ozark, the Netflix show, Jeffrey Wright in Westworld, and Ed Harris in Westworld.
Jeffrey Wright does not, in any scene, look through his glasses.
Do the ones sometimes?
Do the ones
never,
where
not once.
when he's reading. Show?
When he's on one of the boards, he's.
Well, we're all doing that, right? We're all old people. But because you have two actors in each of these shows, do they cancel one another out?
They might. They might. I'd like to think, and I don't know. I have no idea who's going to win. I have no clue. But I would like the Americans to sweep. I would like Kerry Russell to win. I'd like Matthew Rhys to win. I'd like the show to win. It's deserving, and it has yet to be honored in that way.
But here's the thing. This is where we start talking like we do around the Oscars. Does FX have the money to mount the campaign that say somebody like Netflix?
Especially for a show that it's done on, right? I mean, it's not like they want to whip people up for excitement for season 7.
Anything else of interest among the nominations that you're excited about?
I think Jason Bateman's I think we're all now we all got it, but it took a while for everybody to be like, Jason Bateman is a phenomenal actor.
He can actually act.
Yeah, it turns out it took a while for us to recognize that he was always great. But because Ozark is it is funny at times, but it is dark and he's great.
Yeah, actor in a comedy, we have Donald Glover in Atlanta, Bill Hader in Barry, Anthony Anderson in
Bill
Blackish,
Hader again, one of the great
Ted Danson.
Dramatic turns for a Saturday Night Live.
He can do everything.
Donald Glover, another guy who arguably should win everything that he's up for.
And then actress in a comedy, we have Rachel Brosnahan for
She'll
Marvelous.
probably win.
Yeah, Tracy Ellis Ross, Blackish, Allison Janney in Mom, which seems very quaint.
She should win for everything.
Lily Tomlin, Grace and Frankie, Pamela Adlon, Better Things, Issa Rae, and Insecure. She's great too. Anyway,
and so should Pamela Adlon. They should all win.
Up with
We're all winners.
There are no losers here. Stick with us. Thanks.